All right, y'all. He ain't back. He's not back. We thought that Doug was back with us. I was ready to flip the script. I was like, oh, yeah, we got the story. He ain't really die in that car. Y'all been trying us. And you know what, fair? Joey is not a man that doesn't get the job finished. Okay. So yeah, Dr. McBride is not here with us. His daughter Deanna was definitely dreaming, daydreaming, hallucinating, however you want to put it. He wasn't there physically, okay? But he did come with a message. He straight up told Deanna that she needs to get Vanessa away from Joey ASAP, as well as Donnell. He was like, yeah, you know that they're not as strong as us. Yeah, they are a bit more gullible, but Joey is straight up lying to them. And you need to make sure that they're not fully taken advantage of. So now Deanna has an actual mission. Okay. The scary part about it is no one else saw this. So her getting validation may be a little hard. Okay. If she tells anybody that she's seen him, she almost slipped up and told Darnell that she saw him, but she kind of like backed off. If anyone else knows that she's getting messages from the grave from her dad, they're going to use that against her, especially Joey, until she finds actual evidence with the fact that he really did get Doug killed out here. Donnell was definitely over it, but he went to Joey and had his own, rundown with him. And of course, Joey lied to his face and said that he had nothing to do with Doug's death. He went back to the fact that he gave up the security footage of when he was gambling at the casino before he left, that he talked to the bartender that was serving Doug that night. And of course, Donnell is not dumb. He straight up was like, I know these things, and I also know that you can manipulate everything that you just listed. So hopefully you told me the truth, but I'm just going to take it for face value. And hopefully, Deanna does some real digging. Maybe Deanna can talk to Randy. Okay. I know that Randy is real loyal to Joey, but if Deanna comes to him and says, hey, I know that Joey took him out, do you think Randy would help her? Like get evidence against Joey? Because he definitely wants to get from up under him too. I don't know. Y'all let me know where this is going to go because I don't think they brought Doug back for no reason. But unfortunately, he is Doug the friendly ghost. Now, Doug's message was still timely because Vanessa definitely needs to get away from Joey. Like, there's definitely some stuff that's about to hit the fan. First of all, there was a whole memorial that they had for Derek, and I'll talk about that. Vanessa goes up to Jacob at the memorial and gives her condolences for his best friend. He gives her a little suspicious look, but thanks her. Then she proceeds to ask, so, is there any more information that's come up on the investigation with the plasma ring? And Jacob, who's fully annoyed, as he should be, because Vanessa is once again overstepping her bounds, straight up asked her, is that question from you or your boyfriend? And of course, that's where the conversation ends with them, at least from what we've seen. And the next time they talk about it is when she brings it up with Joey. And straight up, once again, Joey's like, I don't have any parts in the plasma ring. That had nothing to do with me. He's just pulling at straws. You need to calm down. Now, once again, here's Vanessa spooked. Once again, showing us that she is not ready for the queen pin life. Okay, because every time somebody mentions Joey in a bad light, she's shaking in her boots. She's afraid. And she goes straight to him like, hey, what's going on? Do I need to know more? Are you really involved in this? And this time he really did like point out, like, hey, you feel those tremors in your heart? You see how scared you are right now? This is why I don't let you fully into my business. Business says, right? Like this is why. She don't know how to act. She don't have a poker face. She almost melted in front of Jacob and she didn't have any information to even give him. Yeah. Once stuff really hits the fan with Joey, She is not ready to be his confidant, his right hand, his ride or die. That's a given, okay? But once they were like almost done with the conversation, Joey gets a phone call from who knows that says the impaler wants to meet with you. And he straight up says, okay, set it up. So we do know that he is connected to the impaler, but now we know that it's not him for sure. It's not Joey. I'm banking on the fact that it is Joey's sister. We haven't met her yet, but them making these arrangements like, oh, the impaler is calling for you, it gives previous relationship. So I'm putting in the card that the impaler is Joey's sister. Now, although Jacob is no longer undercover, he is still very much on the case. Okay, he has made it clear to everyone that the impaler still hasn't been caught. There's still a lot to do on this case, and he's now even more anxious than ever because he's been undercover for so long and went through this whole process just to still somewhat come up empty. Some would even say negative because now you're without your best friend. Your best friend has lost his life in this process, and we still don't have the name of the impaler. So Jacob is off his rocker, honestly. And Naomi sees it, feels it, is freaking out about it. I mean, straight up. She's like, you got to do something. Okay. She's already asked Chief Hawthorne about mental help that he has access to. And Chief Hawthorne is like, yeah, he has access to grief counselors and we give, whatever help that's needed. But he has to be the one to say, like, oh, I need it and to push for it and to actually use it. Right. So, of course, in Jacob mode, he's definitely thinking about Naomi. When they finally get home alone, he's like, what can I do for you? Let me like get you comfortable. He brings up the fact that she was so brave during his process. And she was like, no, I wasn't. She's like, no, I'm not your mom, bro. Like, I was freaking out every step of the way. I was scared and mad and annoyed that you weren't home, that you were out doing this job. And no, I don't feel like I was brave. I was terrified. And then she says, I know that you're here to help me, but what would really help me is if you fully put Rashad down. Okay. I know that you were undercover, but I need for Jacob to come back. I need for Jacob to make his way back to me so that we can both understand what you've been through and how we can move forward, how we can progress from this. I know you lost your best friend and that's going to take a while, but this case in general has taken so much from Jacob. Him constantly being in fight mode, him every day not knowing if this is the day that he's going to be found out or if something else is going to bust, or like there's so much anxiety and stuff going on with Jacob. So I'm so on Naomi's side with the fact that he needs help. He needs to get some real help. And then the fact that everybody is literally like blaming Jacob for Derek's death. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Ashley has pretty much been the soundboard for all things Derek since his passing. So this week, she actually got a visit from Derek's dad, right? He came to Ashley's house to get some information, well, to, speak to her, but to also get information on his whereabouts because he wants to take his remains home so that he can bury him in his hometown with his family, which is completely understandable, right? In that process, Ashley realized that they wouldn't be having a funeral in Fairmont Crest. So her and Shanice decided to put on a memorial in Fairmont Crest at Uptown for the people that did care about Derek and don't have access to his immediate family that can't, go, probably won't be invited to the intimate funeral that they're having for him. So they had a memorial at Uptown so everyone can go and pay their respects. And even just to kiki and, compare stories, just to really be able to purge, their emotions about everything that's going on. While Ashley is being visited by Derek's dad, they have a conversation and he brings up the fact that he is most angry with Jacob because Jacob let this happen. He was saving Jacob and Derek is not the person to be saving Jacob because he's not a police officer. Fully correct. Derek is not a police officer. But the drop of information that's missing is the fact that Derek was never supposed to be there. And nobody asked him to be there. Okay? Derek took it upon himself to follow Grayson to the warehouse. And my annoyance with Ashley is that in these situations, she constantly chooses to let people draw their own conclusions as opposed to actually saying what really happened. All of that could have been squashed immediately with her straight up telling Derek's dad what really happened. Okay? It's not that he was there protecting Jacob. In the end, he did get that bullet because he was protecting Jacob. But the only reason why he was in that warehouse is because he took it upon himself to go. To make matters even worse, he went because Grayson told him that Ashley's life was in danger. So is it Jacob's fault or is it Ashley's fault for being involved with Grayson in all of this mess? Maybe that's why she's feeling so guilty about his death. So instead of setting the record straight and telling Derek's dad the full truth as to why he was really there and how he really died, she decides to still be quiet and let him draw his own conclusions, which puts all of the heat on Jacob. And she has no problem with that. That's my issue with Ashley. She never wants to take accountability. And then when the blame is put somewhere else, she's fine with it as long as the heat is not on her. And the sad part about it is, she could have saved this level of anger and sadness that Jacob is feeling now that he's had a run in with Derek's dad. Derek's dad goes to the police station looking for Derek's remains because he was told by the coroner and everyone that's dealing with his body, the medical examiners, they're saying that they're not done with their investigation, so they cannot give his body over to him. So he went to Jacob to get a favor, convenient, to get a favor and say, hey, can you get access to my son's remains so I can take him home? Jacob is being the stand up guy that he is, reaches his hand out to give condolences about Derek to his dad. And the dad is like, I'm not shaking the hand of the man that got my son killed. What? We're blaming Jacob? And it was so annoying even at the memorial how everybody kept saying, "Oh, well, I thank God that Derek was there to save Jacob's life." Y'all got to stop with this narrative, okay? We can call him a hero. He stepped in harm's way to save someone. Yes, he did. But he was not supposed to be there, okay? He's not some vigilante that just happened to be there to save. No, he's not a police officer. He's not even a firefighter anymore. That man was a civilian that wasn't even supposed to be there. The only responsibility that Jacob had was to really get Derek out of there. When he saw that Derek was there, it wasn't no, oh, hide. It was get your butt up out of here, okay? Like, Derek put his own self in harm's way. He could have been killed before he even got in the warehouse, before Jacob even knew he was there. If they would have known that he was trespassing, if anybody would have saw him, he would have been done. So I'm sick of the narrative, okay? Ashley needs to tell dad to back off, and everybody needs to stop coming at Jacob, period. Thankfully, Shanice and Ashley did put on a good memorial service for Derek. They had everyone who was anyone came out that knew him. Isaiah spoke and said how he was very helpful when he came to him about helping the Banneker kids volunteer at the clinic. He was even pushing for a lot of the medical students to come in and help, which was huge, like just showing that he was a very generous guy, a very caring person, right? Eva spoke and attested to that as well with his work at the clinic. Vanessa spoke, and then even Vanessa said that she would open a scholarship for those medical students that wanted to come volunteer at the clinic so that they actually could and, could financially be taken care of in that service in honor of Derek as well as Doug. So shout out to Vanessa. She's definitely a philanthropist. All right. She knows how to put the money in the places that they need to be. Right. So that was nice. Of course, Naomi spoke about, him being a good friend and ultimately saving Jacob. Jacob didn't get to speak that much, honestly. He still was like very very emotional, but he did, speak briefly about how he missed him and that they'll forever be friends, right? Shanice spoke and said, that they flirted for a second, but it turned into a friendship. Now, they also brought some firefighters that did an honorary like moment for him. They did the last call over the loudspeaker for him as a firefighter. They gave Ashley the flag that was flying over the firehouse, the American flag, to give to his parents so that they can have that. Shanice, them firefighters that was in there was quite fine. All I'm saying is I hope Shanice was doing some swimming while she was there. Okay. I know she done said that she want to work it out with Ted, blase, blase, blah. I hope Shanice took advantage of that memorial, okay? Because those fellow firemen that were in the building, it was some fine firemen in that building, okay? Hopefully, Shanice is keeping her options open as she should. All right, she ain't got to Nicole it and just, be bouncing around, but she could be intentional about her dating. It don't always have to be about Ted. That's all I'm saying. Calm down, cuz I just need her to have a new man. A firefighter would be nice. So things got a little heated between Ted and Nicole when Ted told Nicole that he mentioned to the board that she should be up for consideration when it comes to who should take Dr. Whitmore's place in running Garland Memorial, right? He gives her the full rundown. I think you'll be great at it. The people at Garland already love you. You already know what's going on when it comes to running Garland. There's not much of a change for you, but this would be great for you. It would be a great progression for your career. Like he's just fully pumping her up, right? And she's not having it. She's not having it at all, to the point where she's even appalled. Like she's like, that this is not my MO and never has been. So why would you think that I would take a position like this now? And Ted straight up is like, well, you changed so much about yourself lately, about your choices, about the people that you hang with, about the things that you do. So why not embrace this new job opportunity? She ain't like that. She ain't like that. And the way that she constantly gets defensive with men when they talk about her change, Ted, Carlton, right? The Martin, Cat, and forget just men, the people that know her that have said, like, yo, you're really changing. She gets a full attitude and gets so defensive. Is it because you don't like what you're doing right now, Nicole? Are you defensive with Ted because you low key agree with him that you're doing too much? I don't know. I don't know. But of course, they're interrupted by Kyle. Kyle comes in and is like, hey, and Ted is like, well, just think about it. And he dips, right? And she tells Kyle, he put me up for the position and I don't know why, because I've never wanted something like this. And he's been married to me and he should know who I am, blah, blah, blah. And Kyle is like, oh, well, if I was on the board, I would nominate you too because we would work closely together. And now Ted would have an in with you again and you would be in the circle again. And I mean, fair, Ted has been feeling left out when it comes to being in the Dupree circle. But I don't think that he would want her to be head of Garland just so they have a reason to talk. They made it clear that they can have conversations and be in each other's lives outside of the divorce. So I just think Kyle was being a little sketchy, a little jealous about the fact that her and Ted are still low key cool. Of course, Kyle would think that way because he's still in competition mode, as he should be. right? In his brain, everybody is competition. Carlton, Ted, any other man that might come up and through here. Like he's just ready to still be on guard and ready to win the battle for Nicole's heart, right? So of course, if it comes to her taking this position and working closely with Ted, he's against it because he doesn't want them to be close. And he's going to point out any flaw that he sees in any other man so that she will not allude to what they want. That's just what he is going to do because he wants Nicole. They've now had a date that didn't end in them being physical, right? He was able to just hang with her and they did work together. So their relationship is starting to progress into something a little deeper than just the physical. And he wants that. He's told her that he's spoken to his kids about her, that he's just going at her pace, but he's ready for more whenever she is. So, of course, anything that Ted wants, he's going to go against it, period. I think that Nicole would be great for the role, honestly. Out of all the doctors there, I do think that everyone loves her. I do think that she would understand the assignment. She would work well with Shanice. Like it would be a good role for her. But maybe it does shake her up to think that she is doing more now, right? Like she's never really seen herself as the spotlight person. We see it when she compares herself to Danny, who went to be a famous model. And everyone else, and she's always talking about her not being in the spotlight. She thinks she's not like Anita because Anita was a huge singer. Even with Vernon being like this big senator, she's like, you guys are public figures. I am not. Okay. My work is for the personal one on one. And Ted said, exactly. That's what makes you great for this job. And I agree. But what do y'all think? Do you think that Nicole just really thinks not that much of herself to where she doesn't think she's equipped enough for the role? Or is she really just scared to be in the spotlight? Like maybe that really is a thing for her that she doesn't like to be in the spotlight. And do you think that her and Kyle would really get like that close? Because every time he tries to get serious, she's still thinking about Carlton, in my opinion, right? And she still hasn't gotten over Ted. Her and Ted are about to do some rekindling as well. So I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think she about to do. Cause she all over the place, in my opinion. Still. The interactions between Bill and Danny have been spicy since day one, of course. But we got a really good back and forth between them this past week. Bill is on some other mess because he is excited with the fact that he gets to go toe to toe with Mike in the courtroom for Madison's case. Naomi was originally first chair lawyer, but now that Jacob is home, it has been said that she's relinquished the first chair to Bill so that she can focus more on Jacob. And to be honest, it's alluded to that she doesn't want to deal with Mike. So in this conversation between Danny and Bill, they run into each other at the country club, and Danny brings up the fact that, oh, she's glad that he's able to put Mike back in his place, right? Now, of course, Bill, being in his good old boy mindset, retaliates to Danny and is like, "Oh, well, Mike is janky, but he's not that bad. Like he's not always been that bad. I didn't realize that it got bad like that." And she goes in on him. She's like, "Mike has been disgusting from day one. He was running his eyes all up and through me the moment you weren't paying attention." And Bill is like, "No, he would never." He did. He did multiple times. And then she brings up once again that he didn't believe the female coworkers that were going against Mike until he had to, until he had to make that settlement and fire Mike. But he had plenty of opportunities to fire him before and did not take it because he, one, didn't believe the female employees, or two, didn't believe that he was as horrible as he is. Danny brings up the fact that that's one of the main reasons why Naomi didn't want to work with him. Apparently, when she came out of law school, Bill had a job ready and waiting for her at his firm, and she decided that she wanted to work somewhere else. Now, in his brain, he had it locked in that she wanted to forge her own path and go to another company that wasn't as corporate. Danny alludes to the fact that Mike may have actually had some words with Naomi and got Naomi spooked to the point where she didn't even want to work there, which makes sense, right? He's constantly giving crude, sexual, nasty comments to women. So, of course, Naomi wouldn't want to work in that environment, even with Bill being her dad. The annoying part is how shocked Bill seems to be with everything that Danny's saying. She's been married to him for decades, right? So when she brings up how nasty Mike is, how Caroline covered up all of his affairs, and he's defensive of Caroline, like, oh, she didn't know. She was just doing her job. She was protecting you too. No, she was not protecting Danny. She was protecting you. She was protecting her job. And that's what Danny comes back with. No, Caroline was not protecting me. She was protecting you and her job. Caroline had no problem lying to Danny about any affair that Bill was having as long as her job was secure. And she puts that on Bill for creating that type of environment in his law firm, which is why Naomi wants no parts. She even goes deeper into saying that she never felt protected in their marriage. She always felt like she was hung out to dry. It was always her against him with all of these situations. He never took her side or believed her, right? So it's so interesting how he lets Haley run through him, right? I mean, like, she does whatever she wants. She buys whatever she wants. She talks back to him when she feels like it. And he's just like, oh, I'm here for you. I'm never going to, go against my wife. She's my wife now. I'll always protect her. Why? Why did Danny not get the same treatment that he's giving Haley? Is it because he's always been intimidated by the Dupree name? And see, this is what I'm talking about, right? Obviously, his goal was never to fully protect Danny, but to possess her, to own her, right? To get ownership. Because once he had her, once she gave up her career, once she was fully his live in wife, his confidant, his right hand, he abused it every chance he got. I heard somebody else say, I wonder how many times he's cheated on Haley. Because apparently, Haley wasn't one or the two. He had been cheating on Danny multiple times before Haley even came into the picture. So, what made it so hard for him to be faithful to Danny, but the fact that he could be faithful to Haley now? What is that about? What is that about? His ego is obviously way more fragile than he's willing to admit. And it was so vindicating, right? And refreshing that Danny was able to be honest with him and say, you did not protect me. You didn't cover me. It was never you that took care of me. And he could not wrap his head around it. I mean, his mind was blown. I also love that when he brings up protecting Danny, she says, oh, you weren't even the main one that was protecting me, that I classify as my protector. And he's immediately like, oh, well, I know the Duprees took care of you, but when we got married, I protected you. And I guess you mean your little boy, boy toy husband now. And she's like, no, Pamela, bro. Pamela took care of me when I was on all of those modeling auditions and modeling jobs. She started modeling at 17. And she said Pamela was the one to say, no, we're not going to work with that person. We feel uncomfortable. We're walking. Your integrity is not worth any photographer or job. And she would walk off of any job with Danny the moment Danny didn't feel protected or safe. And she said that was more than she can say for Bill. Because obviously it didn't matter when she would say, Mike made me feel uncomfortable, or I don't like you working late with that woman, or whatever she said. He just never gave her the protection and safety that she was allotted. I'm glad he had that bursting bubble moment to where he so proudly said that he always takes care of his family and always protects his family. And she was able to burst that bubble. No, sir. No, sir, you didn't protect me when we were married, and you're not protecting Naomi now. Hopefully, you can at least protect Madison. So, hopefully, he takes that seriously and really takes this job seriously and make sure that Madison gets off with this doggone case. Because if Madison loses her license and can't, practice medicine anymore, it's going to be on him. And then let's see how tight him and Chelsea are when that happens. Let's see if Naomi ever works with him again as a lawyer if that happens. Let's see if his law firm is even in good standings anymore if he has to do a payout to Mike as the receiving attorney. What does that look like in the media, So Bill definitely better choose his movements well, okay? Because it could be very much downhill for him if he doesn't pay attention, open his eyes, and actually prioritize his family, his real family. Because the one he thinks is his family, Miss Haley, yeah, she ain't it at all. Now, first of all, Leslie showed her butt at that doggone press conference that they had for Derek. Ugh, so annoying. I can't stand when she puts on. She gets in front of the press and the cameras and she's got tears in her eyes and oh, we'll definitely miss Derek. He was an amazing person to the community and he'll be missed. Oh, Teddy, hold me. Ugh, she gets on my nerves. And then now she's seen at the country club once again attempting to befriend Haley very aggressively, might I add. Okay. She still comes to her with the insults like, oh, you think you running this game on Bill, it's gonna fall flat. If you don't get my advice, if you don't get my help, you gonna mess up and you gonna fall flat. And Haley's like, girl, I got this, please. Like, just leave me alone. Leslie goes as far as to bump their phones together so that they could have each other's number. Because she's like, you're going to need me. I have access to Joey. I have money in the country club. You're just Bill's little wife. So when you need actual influence, when you need actual help, call me. And of course, Bill comes and breaks it up because he's like, why are you talking to my wife? Why are you over here? You need to dip. And, she's still she's a drop scared of Bill still, because Bill was the one that had her get out of town, right? He was the one to run her out of town. So she still does have a drop of hesitation when it comes to him. You can see. But she was very much like, no, I could do what I want. And it was Haley that was like, girl, please leave. Like, I don't have the time or the bandwidth. Okay. Like, please just go. Okay. What y'all think about this alliance? I think she will eventually call her. Once she realizes that she can't get Bill out of here, she's going to need some reinforcements. And that's going to come soon because Bill told Haley that his hand was shaking again. And in the actor fashion that she has, she's like, oh my God, we should go to the hospital immediately. Something may be wrong. And of course, he's like, oh no, it's fine. Like, I just want to get a little relaxation from you. How can Nurse Haley help me? Bro, Nurse Haley gonna help you into your grave. Period. Okay. But she's still putting them drops in his drinks. And apparently it's starting to work again because he's starting to get his anxiety and his shakes and things back. Joey saw it when he was trying to have a moment with Joey. So something about to happen with Bill. But Haley got a new bestie in her pocket now. So if she needs a little help, we know who she gonna call. I see it. I see it. She gonna get desperate and she gonna hit Leslie up for something. Now, the hottest thing about this last week were the grands. Ooh, the grands. They are spicy, okay? Anita has gotten the clearance to get some loving from her husband. And Mr. Vernon Dupree did not waste any time, okay? He got the lights dimmed, he got the candles going, he done bought her gifts and got her favorite dinner and some lingerie. Okay. I'm here for it. One thing I love is Vernon and Anita Dupree. Okay, baby? They love each other down. I'm talking to the bone. You can feel the fire just rushing through the TV. It was so good. I love them, okay? And they couldn't keep their hands off of each other. So much so that they have messed up two grandkids in the process of them about to get it on, okay? First, Cat walks in and they're just getting started. They're just, kissing on each other, all over each other. And she's freaked out immediately. Like, oh, my bad. I'm out of here. Sorry. She goes to Uptown with Chelsea to get a drink so she could clear her mind, right? A few minutes later, they about to get it on again. And I'm talking about in the living room of the house, okay? This is the living room of the grand house where everybody be at, right? But it's still their house. It's still their house. So, they can get it on wherever they want to. But they in the living room, and then it gets spicy again. And now Anita is taking off Vernon's jacket and she unbuttoning his shirt and she about to rip it off. And here come Martin. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I was just here to check on your grand. I apologize. Shooketh again, okay? Both the Richardson kids just completely shook. And he ends up going to Uptown and meets up with Chelsea and Kat and has his own drink because him and Kat are distraught, okay? Seeing the grands all over each other was a bit much for them, but who cares? I'm just happy that the sparks are flying, that Anita is healthy, and Vernon just loves his girl so much. It's just so beautiful. He implied, like, oh, I need you to be vocal. Come on, Vernon. I hope the men are taking notes when it comes to Vernon, okay? He said, I need you to be vocal. If you're not feeling it, if you're feeling it, I want to hear it all. And she's like, I ain't scared of you, boy. I ain't scared of this port. I ain't scared of the passion, pain, pleasure we about to have. Okay, they got it on. And they're going to continue to get it on. And I'm just happy. I'm just so happy. I love them. Oh, to have love like that from my lips to God's ears. Well, we've now gotten through Derek's death. We've gotten through the cotillion. So more stuff is coming. We've got our merge episode with the Young and the Restless. That's happening like any day now. We definitely have the election needs to finish up with Martin, with him running for Congress. Hopefully he wins so that he can run for Senate. So much is going on. We're getting more progression with Anita's diagnosis. We're heading towards surgery with that. So she's almost done with this process. Hopefully, we get to see Dr. Monica and she's brought back to actually run Garland. That would be amazing. There's just so much going on. We've got Chelsea and Madison's wedding coming up. Do you think that she will invite her mother, even though they've been having all this back and forth? I can understand Madison still wanting to be, still wanting her mother to be a part of the biggest day of her life, even though they're at odds, right? Hopefully that works out. But we've definitely still got that court case with Madison, to see Bill in the courtroom. I hope we get to see him in the actual courtroom, right? Like, this is a strong enough case for us to watch in real time. So hopefully we get all of this. I mean, the drama is continuing to flow. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Hit me in the comments. Let me know how you feel about everything that I've talked about. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll meet you here every week beyond the gates.